Hi, welcome to the Breakfast Club. I'm Nev. Today our guest is HeyShadyLady. She is a fellow Twitch streamer. So about how long have you been streaming on Twitch?
Yeah, I started streaming in 2016, March or April of 2016, and uh, kind of off and on again, mostly full time. I don't know. I take a lot of breaks because I just kind of hit burnout walls and stuff. So it's been about 5 years. I think I just hit my 5 year stream anniversary on the release date of Stardew Valley, actually, because that's the first game I started streaming with.
Cool. And so you've developed at this point into like becoming a stream coach. But I noticed that you weren't like a partner or anything. Is that just due to something that you're not looking to like do, or is that something that just have a mark that you haven't hit yet?
I've never pushed for a partner. I never. There's been multiple times where I could have gotten partner, and I am queen of self-sabotage, and so anytime I start to build up momentum, I feel like I self-sabotage. I don't know, I'll disappear for a couple of months, or kind of shoot myself in the foot a little bit. So there's been several times my community's even like, what are you doing sometimes? But my first couple of years of streaming, I'm Sagittarius moon, astrology wise. So like I don't want anybody to own me. I didn't want to go to college because I didn't want a college to be able to own anything that I did. Like say, well, Harvard graduate was able to do this or whatever. That's like how my mindset works. And so the same thing for the first couple of years for me was like, I don't need to be Twitch partner. I don't need a check mark. Like I'm blah, blah, blah. And then it's only just been in this last, like, I'd say maybe 6 months or so that I've started going like, maybe I will just try and hit partner this year. Maybe I will try and like actually like hit that landmark. I think it's because I didn't want to get caught up in the rat race of it, or and I see a lot of people the whole time I've been on Twitch that will do these partner pushes, or they'll try and hit partner, and as soon as they hit partner, it's like the monster is defeated, so there's nothing left to do, so they just kind of like fizzle for a bit, or they lose like direction. So I never really felt like a strange landmark or like milestone to shoot for, because it's mostly just superficial. It doesn't really mean much beyond the check mark. You know what I mean? And I see plenty of people who are wonderful, phenomenal creators, and they don't need verification by any website. So it's that type of thing. That's always like kind of been a mental battle for me. And I don't know what switched this year besides like I just kind of want to, and maybe it's like commitment issues or something, also playing a role in it, where it's like I just kind of want to like let's see if we can accomplish it, let's see if we can do it, instead of pushing it off or coming up with reasons not to do it.
That's a good reason. I was just curious about that, because I was like, she's definitely like got the, you've got the background to be able to like hit that mark if you wanted to. So, but that's definitely a good reason. So you mentioned teaching fledgling creatives to tune into their intuition, and like look at the bigger picture, dump the doubt, etc. Stuff like that. And a lot of those tips are ones that like I've run into recently, like when I've been trying to work on my tarot reading, which I thought was kind of funny. And I think it's interesting that you're a tarot reader too. Do you find Sorry. Do you find that they come from like the same wellspring, like creatively or something, like the same like energy or whatever?
Yeah, kind of. The way that I go about with tarot, at least, I don't know if I'm just like a natural teacher at heart, and everything that like I bring that energy to everything that I do. But when I was writing that little blurb for my Twitter, I was actually like, I was trying to come up with like my 3 major points and then write like a sentence to go with each of them. And I was like, I found myself using the same words. And I was like, well, when I'm doing tarot stuff, I'm trying to inspire and encourage other people to, get in touch with their intuition, or like step into that spiritual, that feminine side or whatever, and to just kind of be open to it. And when I'm teaching people to be comfortable streaming, I'm teaching them to be less afraid of getting embarrassed or stage fright. I'm follow their intuition still, like go with your gut feelings. And I was like, it's the same thing I'm trying to bring out of people, just in different avenues, like streaming versus tarot, but they feel very similar. And I don't know if that's just the energy that probably is just the energy that I bring to stuff, but I do feel they're both very creative, innovative fields. So I find they work really nicely together. And I do feel when I'm doing like stream coaching and stuff, I don't do a lot of stream coaching. It is just kind of like one of my like, same with tarot reading. I prefer to make content rather than, you know, just because I get like too blocked in, and it starts to feel like kind of stifling. But no, my brain went burr and it stopped thinking. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's good. Do you do a lot of tarot readings like on your stream and stuff?
I normally do what do we call it now? It's tarot on Sunday nights. It used to be tarot Tuesday, and now I'm like, oh, we don't have like a cute little name for Sundays. But yeah, Sunday nights I'm normally reading tarot. The last time I did a tarot stream was in January, though. I went really hard for a charity event. And I mean, I was doing like, I think I pushed like 8 to 10 hours for one of the tarot streams, and I read like 30 different tarot readings.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and it was 4 weeks in a row, and I just kind of used all of that energy. But it was, you know, in my head, I was like, it's for charity, it's for a good cause. And it kind of, I kind of am in a bit of a like struggling not to be burnt out phase right now, because I went so hard in January. So I haven't streamed much in February, and the one time I did try and go live on my channel, the power grid went out in this area.
Yeah, I saw like your last stream was that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna step back for a second. I feel like this is a sign. But now I'm in the phase of the burnout where it's like, okay, I'm ready to start streaming again, but now I got to bully myself into actually doing it, because it's so easy for me and for other people that I've talked to. Like you take a couple of, you know, I'm just going to take tonight off of streaming, and then tonight turns into tomorrow, and then the whole week you've taken off, and then the week turns into 3 weeks, and then the next thing you know, you've got this anxiety built up about, now I got to go live, and I got to explain to everybody why I haven't been live, and I've got to, it turns into this whole big thing. And that's been the cycle that I found myself get stuck in, is I'll go really, really hard with this like over the top schedule, or like extra content, like extreme types of content, instead of just chilling playing video games. And then I'll maintain that for a month or two, maybe 3 months if I'm lucky, and then I just hit a wall. I'm like, I'm going to take a couple of days off, everybody. And then a couple of days stretches into a month, sometimes 2. I've taken a 6-month break before. And it's all, I feel like this is a common story for a lot of people, but it's all about like striking that balance as a content creator between all of the different, you know, we're all striving for balance in our life anyway, but as a content creator, it's even harder because we're turning our life into our job. So there's a lot to do with like trying to find that wall, or that balance where you do still have your personal boundaries and things that are just for you and that kind of thing.
Oh, kitty cat. Hi, kitty.
Yeah.
Mine is just napping nearby on a chair. Where he lives, pretty much.
Good cat. Toasty's like, oh, you're doing something important? Well, now it's time to pet me.
Yeah, mine will do that too, but luckily he stays away from my computer area.
Well, that's lucky.
My friend Midgeworth was going to send me some questions, but I don't think he ended up doing so I can't pass on any of Midgeworth's questions. But let's see. Oh, thanks for the follow, Spooky Babe Gaming. My TV, I noticed, is missing on the screen, too. I moved some folders around on my computer, and apparently it messed up my overlay.
Oh, no. I hate it when that happens.
So I gotta find those files now and fix it.
Hi, Spooky.
Hello. So let's see. I should have prepared better for this. Well, what are some tips maybe that you would give for, like, new streamers, say, joining Twitch?
Oof. I guess the first thing would always be like, if my friend was getting into it right now, I would tell them not to buy $1 million worth of products. Just go with the bare minimum of whatever you have right now, so that you're not putting a bunch of money into something you don't even know if you're going to like yet. That's one of the most important things. I feel I see a lot of people, they'll go out and dump like $1,000 or $2,000 on a setup, and then they try and stream for 2 or 3 months, and then they don't like it, or they aren't cut out for it. So I would say to just go with what you have already lying around. Maybe if you need to buy like a webcam and a microphone or something, like go with the cheap options. Like don't spend more than $100 on your first setup. and just allow the stream itself to improve itself over time. So any revenue you're bringing in from the stream, like allow that to improve everything over time. Don't stress yourself about all of the bells and whistles and the alerts and the emotes and the sub badges and the panels, and like do a little bit at a time, a little bit every single day. I guess before, like, get yourself into a position where you feel like confident when you're starting out, so that, you know, maybe like go ahead and set your OBS up so that everything is secure, but you don't have to worry about all of these crazy bells and whistles, which I think a lot of people get hung up on, because you'll see people that'll procrastinate on starting a stream for years, like literally years. And I'm guilty of the same, honestly. I wanted to start streaming back in like 2013, maybe 2014, and I did try. So my first stream was technically back around like 2014, and it was so like janky, dude. I was playing Red Dead Redemption on my television. I had my DSLR camera set up to record the television capture, and it was fed into my laptop, which was kept capturing my webcam. So the game capture was a camera capture of my television.
Oh, wow.
It was so, and I did that for a couple of days, and it just was so much to set up, first of all, and it was not a good setup. And so that was like I tried it for a couple of weeks in like 2013, 2014, sometime around there. And it was several years later that I actually like bought myself a webcam, and it was a like a $30 webcam. It was a C270. So it was a cheap little 720p webcam. My microphone was a hand-me-down from a friend, so I only spent $75 on that because he wanted half, which was fair to me, because it was mostly new. I'm distracted, sorry. But I started with like a hand-me-down microphone, a cheap little $20-$30 camera. The microphone was a bit of an expense. I did buy a computer setup though, but it was the last thing I bought from my job before I quit my job and like moved town. So it was like this huge gift to myself. It wasn't a fancy computer either. It was like a basic, like low, like Best Buy pre-built computer. It wasn't like a $3,000 rig or anything. And I've had to upgrade it over the past 5 years, adding more RAM, getting the graphics card up to date. There's little things that you're constantly always going to have to be doing. And I actually, in the mail today, got my microphone. So I've been using this Blue Yeti since 2015. I got it in 2015. I started streaming in 2016. We're in 2021, and it's definitely got issues in the last year. For sure, it's given me a hard time, but this thing's lasted me 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And there is a lot of, you get what you pay for in a lot of areas of life as well. Makeup is one, streaming equipment is another. So you don't necessarily need to buy the $300 lipstick, but you don't want to buy the $4 lipstick either, right? Yeah. You don't need to buy a $1,000 microphone, but the $20 microphone's probably not going to be that great. So you want somewhere like I would say Blue Yeti's a good starter mic, but that's definitely an expense. It's definitely an investment. So
yeah, that's the one that actually I got when I started doing this too, because it seemed like it was like the good middle of the road kind of way to go.
Yeah, definitely. It's very like intermediate. You can do all kinds of stuff with it too. Blue Yeti's good for ASMR. It's good for podcasting. It's good for singing. As far as like a beginner amateur, like not like super professional industry standard stuff, but it's a great way to get your feet in and decide if you like what you're doing at all, and it's worth that $1,000 investment, because that's insane to dump that amount of money into stuff. I've seen people do it, and I'm like, you've got $3,000 worth of gear rotting in your closet, and there are other people that are like busting their ass to get a $300 upgrade or something, and you've just put all this stuff in the corner. It's collecting cobwebs, and that's fine. Maybe they have the money to spend on it, but it's again like, I just wish that people would allow it to build itself instead of like, because it also sets weird expectations for new streamers too. When they see people that do have these $2,000 to $4,000 setups, they feel like they have to have that in order to be successful. So they won't get started, because I don't have a Stream Deck. I only have one monitor. I don't have the newest graphics card that's out. I only have this like little baby. My microphone's fed through my webcam. Like they won't do it because they bully themselves into being like, well, I've got to be as good as this top gadget reviewer on YouTube who's got the most insane setup you've ever seen. Like they feel like they have to measure up to that, which is why like I'm kind of proud and happy that the first YouTube video that I had that went viral was the how to talk to yourself and no one is there video, and it was recorded so bad. Like it was on this 1080p camera, but I had it out of focus. It was out of focus. I was recording on my Blue Yeti incorrectly, and the audio I was recording coming in from the streamers I was like analyzing was repeated and like coming out of my speakers, and it's really low quality video. Okay, it's not some fancy DSLR with high quality editing and jump cuts. There are jump cuts, but that was just to cut out my ums and uhs. But it's not high quality or high tech, but it hit the algorithm and it shot. And so I feel like that shows you don't have to have $1 million worth of equipment or really be like technically good. You just have to have the heart, you have to have the passion, and you have to have like that has to come out, and that can come out through whatever camera you have. And I've seen so many YouTubers that blow up on 720p cameras, and there's still YouTubers I watch and they've got 1 million subscribers and they're still streaming on their potato cam, as they call it. Like you don't need fancy gear or gadgets or bells and whistles, like software stuff like alerts and commissioning like $300 worth of emotes, and you don't need all of that if you actually are passionate about and care about what you're doing, because people are there for you as a person. They're not there for all that superficial. So the second time I've talked about superficial stuff, but I think we're streamers, we're content creators, we're like, it's a superficial industry. It's show business, but it's show business 2.0, the new Hollywood. So I just think that we can also look at Hollywood too. Like not every actor is technically trained in a high-tech school, and not every successful movie is shot with all of this like Marvel level special effects. Like sometimes these little indie films just take off. Like look at Napoleon Dynamite from years and years ago.
Yeah, or Clerks back in the day,
Yeah, Clerks is a great example. So it's again, just bring your heart, bring your passion into it first and foremost. And you definitely have some stuff that you have to be able to stream, I think. Like you could definitely stream just your game capture with no webcam or microphone, but you're probably not going to really get anywhere with that for a while, unless you're editing some really cool YouTube videos out of it or something, or you're a speed runner or a top 500 this or that. Like, but if in general, most of us are not professional gamers. We're just gamers that like to share our hobby and passion. So unless you have something that really stands you out as far as a gamer, you need to be able to put your personality into what you're doing. Could just be a microphone. You don't have to put your face on the screen if you don't want to, but it's just like, think about the news. When you watch a news show, you want to see the anchor. You don't care what they look like. You want to see that person's face as they're conveying stuff to you. So I'm very big on like pushing people into webcams too, because a lot of people are scared to do it.
Yeah, I've noticed that some people like though won't have a webcam and they'll still have like more viewers than like people that have the whole like 9 yards. So
it's not necessary.
You never know.
If you have the passion, you have the spark, and you have a solid enough personality. If you're doing the streaming without a webcam battle, it's a whole different ballgame. And you definitely have to have, you don't have to turn your personality up a billion, but you have to put your personality, you have to talk, you have to do something and a lot of times you see people without webcams, they have like interesting voices or cute voices, or we see this a lot in VTubing as well, because they're not technically using a webcam, but they have an avatar on screen. I think that there's plenty of examples of, what's that guy, Corpse Husband? Never seen his face. Nobody's ever seen his face. He's got millions of subscribers, but he has a very suave voice. His voice stands out. So I think that's, along with his personality and stuff like that, but I think that's one of the reasons why he's found success. But I mean, if you're like a diehard, like you were playing WoW earlier, so if you've played WoW since it came out and you know everything about the game, you're an expert in WoW, and you're just always streaming it without a webcam, you're bringing something to that table. It's all about, I know it's really like cliche, but it is about finding a niche, and it's finding where you really excel. And I think non-webcam content on YouTube as well is more focused on substance, I'm not sure which word I want to use there, and commentary. So whatever form your commentary takes, whether it's analytical or comedic or dramatic and analyzing the YouTube drama or whatever it is, like you gotta bring something with what you're doing. I'm doing the talk without breathing thing. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you had a lot to say, and it was all really good. So now catch your breath. Well, it's definitely like, and confidence in like, I feel like it's really important being able to project that. Like, I don't know. I'm working on that myself.
Just with like the confidence and stuff.
Just with just the confidence and being able to like.
I feel like you come across super confident.
Yeah.
You've got also like a very unique setup from what I've seen for other people. You feels like you have like a concept already coming into this.
There's supposed to be a TV screen around you too.
Say that again?
There's supposed to be a TV around you too, but it's missing.
I saw that from the interview you did, I think with Black Pando is his name.
Yeah, I gotta fix it.
I was like, it's this whole like concept you have going. So it's I feel like you've got a handle on what it, like a vision. That's the word I'm looking for. You have a vision and you're trying to bring that forward. And I think that's what's important with streaming or content creation in general, is having a vision, because we're all perfectionists. And it's like, I could sit here and nitpick everything that I like. Oh, well, I wish that I had my camera doing this instead. I wanted this graphic over here. I wanted the lighting to look more like this. And because I've got this vision. And so I can march towards it in little steps. And it's like, there's something else I saw too that was like an anti-procrastination thing, where it's like, stop trying to produce your 100%, your A++. Like, nobody knows what your 100% looks like. Only you have this weird visual that you'll probably never be able to hit anyway. So just try to shoot for your 70% instead. And when you feel like you've hit 70% of what you're capable of doing, put it out there. And I use this a lot for YouTube videos, because there's so many YouTube videos I've recorded and then just sit in my hard drive because I'm like, I didn't deliver it well enough, or I stuttered too much, or the lighting was bad, or my makeup was weird, or I'll have all of these reasons. And then it's like, nobody cares except me. Yeah, you might get a troll or two that'll say some dumb comment, but it really doesn't matter, because I'm still delivering the message or the information, or the commentary, or sharing the good vibes while I'm playing Stardew Valley, whatever your purpose is for putting that out there. And not everyone knows what their purpose is going in either. It might be something you have to learn over time, just by like, I tried for a while doing salty content, Overwatch and Dark Souls, and I realized it took me a lot of retrospective, introspection and analysis of like, oh, I'm really angry. I'm creating an angry space. My comments and my chat is full of people that are like toxic or egging me on to be more toxic, and this isn't what I. And then I would compare it to like tarot streams where everyone was like so grateful that sometimes they're in tears, and it's like, I would rather make people feel like that than I would rather make people feel like they need to tune back into an addictive game and get their like sweat a lot and get their like, I would rather have that kind of influence. And that's just my own personal reflections. Other people have different feelings, and there's nothing wrong with like being salty, and that's a great outlet. I still play Overwatch, but I don't make content around it anymore for a reason. And that's just on my own personal feelings of how I like to make people feel, and the type of people I like to attract to me, or the type of energy that I like to cultivate.
Right. Oh, I have another question for you, actually. So I'm in a lot of like support discords. I know that you said in one of your videos how, when you're trying to like get going and get a lot of viewers, you don't want to necessarily like sit around all day in like people's streams and stuff. You want to go and like talk to people and stuff, but you don't necessarily need to do that. But that's basically what I find myself doing all day long in these support discords. Like, have you ever joined any? Do you find them like helpful at all?
I have a weird relationship with, like, are you talking like streamer discords? Like,
yeah.
Discords. I have a weird relationship. I run one. It's called the Offbeat. So it's a server. It's not just for streamers. It's a whole like amalgamation, but streaming is a huge foundation of it. But I've had really bad experiences with huge streamer communities in the past. Being all the way up to like the like staff area of it, and just all of the toxicity. I've joined, I'm sure, dozens at this point of just ones that like I'm trying on, and 9 times out of 10 they are I found there's a couple of good ones, and I do think that it's a really good networking strategy to try to find communities that you can nestle into and gain peer support. I think peer support is a really important part of streaming in general as a small streamer, even all the way up to the top though, because if you've got like 1 million subscribers, you need someone to talk to about, you know, what it's like to get the same comment over and over, or how it feels to like maybe you hit, you know, the big problems. You need someone that's going to understand. You still need peers at that level. We all are going to need a peer group the whole time. Some of us, bird clock, if you're wondering, but some of us might not be social people in that way, and that's fine. But I think in general, it's like school. Like you need your little friends group. You need the people to sit at lunch with. And it's the same kind of thing. So not every Discord community is going to fit. It's going to be a good fit for you. But I would definitely avoid anything that has a follow for follow or like a lurk for lurk kind of mentality, because those typically are very, I mean, I guess they can superficially boost you to affiliate in the beginning, but you need something that's got like an actual community vibe. There's places to hang out, there's things to do. And I definitely, there's really only one other that I'm part of right now besides my own. And the rest that I found, they typically, unless they're built around a streamer themselves, I find in my experience, are built on like a pyramid scheme, kind of boost this one person to the top kind of thing. And it's kind of disguised, although it's very easy to see what it is for what it is. But I think in general, I'm trying to say, yes, you want to socialize with these Discord groups, but you also don't want to get caught up in a follow for follow, because another important part of this follow for follow, lurk for lurk, is the second you don't have the time to be in 20 different people's streams, or if you and I had this type of relationship, Nev, where I come into your stream and I say, hey, how are you? Drop an alert, here's a host. And then you come into my stream the next day and you're like, hey, drop an alert, here's a host. And then I stop coming, we'll say you stop coming into my stream for a week or two or something because you've got life whatever your reason is. And then in my head, in these lurk for lurk communities, the culture tends to be, well, Nev hasn't been here to lurk and host for me, so I'm not going to go host her. Like, and I don't know if it's even like, it doesn't have to necessarily be a conscious thought all the time, but it's just kind of, it's a culture, and it's like well, I'm going to host these people that are always here. I'm not worried about. So it's if you don't put energy into it, you're not receiving energy back in that type of way. So it tends to be like an addictive thing too, where you have to be in 50 streamers channels every day, and I don't think that that's sustainable. It's not you
break down at one point.
Yeah, you don't have that much time, and you really shouldn't be in people's channel out of obligation or the hope that they're going to host and network with you back. Should be just hanging out in channels that you like in general. And yeah, anyway, I'm kind of off on a crazy tangent about it, but I do think that it's worth checking around Discords and peeking them out. Listen to your intuition. If you get feelings about it that you don't, you start to feel a type of way about it, just leave. Don't turn it into some drama thing. Don't make don't make it this whole big thing. Just keep your energy moving into places where it's actually like benefiting you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I find like I spend too much more time doing that than working on my own stream thing, and it's just like frustrating. So I'm trying to like reduce the amount that I'm only really in 2 at this point now, because I started just like tacking on a bunch of support servers, and it was just.
Well, and then you feel like guilty or something because you're like, oh no, I haven't like said anything in that server for a week, and then like it builds up an unnecessary energy. So I think it would be worth finding 1 to 2 Discord groups if you're that type of person that enjoys that type of socializing. 1 or 2. You can't balance that anymore. It's like people that want to have 500 friends. Like I don't know off the top of my head, but there's some kind of scientific thing where the human brain can only maintain X amount of relationships at a time, and it's a couple dozen or maybe up to like 80 or 90 or so. It's not very many. And so when you're following, like right now on Twitter, I'm following like 700 or 800 people or something, and it's like, I honestly, there's probably people on that list where I'm like, oh, I don't know who that is. I don't even remember why I followed them or where I found them from. I don't know who they are. And you can't maintain 700 people in your head like that. So not to say don't follow, follow whoever you want to. And that it doesn't really matter what your follower count and stuff like that is. But I don't need to be in 700 Discords. And that's the thing for me. If you look at my Discord, I have my Discord organized into folders. And I would say I've got like 4 or 5 main Discords pulled out so that I see them all the time. And then there's probably 50 or 70 that are just in a folder and I never look at them.
Oh, wow. Like, I didn't even know you could do that.
This is my streamer friend. I joined their Discord one time to like drop a picture or something in. And now I feel like if I leave their Discord, they're going to get their feelings hurt. Like it's the same thing with Twitter. Like if I unfollow you, you're going to take it as a personal attack for whatever reason. And I mean, even I, like, if I notice someone unfollows me, I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? Like, how could they unfollow me? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's toxic. Social media culture is toxic in general. And I almost wish that stuff was just hidden so nobody could see that. Like, Twitch does it pretty well. Twitch doesn't show anybody who I'm following. And I like that because I don't have to be under the pressure of, like, someone coming in and getting, like, pissed off at me because I can't believe you're not following my Twitch channel. And it's like, but I'm following you on Instagram, which is where we mostly talk. I didn't even know you really had a Twitch until now. And vice versa. Like it happens, like I'll be following someone on Twitch for a long time. I don't even know they have a Twitter. And then I'm like, oh, you have a Twitter. And then I follow them on that. Maybe we've been friends on Twitch for like a year. And then they get like weird because they're like, you just now followed me on Twitter. Like, wow, thanks for this. It's very toxic in general. Social media culture is very toxic. I think this might be why I burn out a lot too, is it's a lot of peopling. It's a lot of dealing with people's emotions, and people's emotions are really annoying sometimes.
Oh yeah. It's very much like high school all over again with cliques and things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Clicks on Twitch or clicks on social media is such a hot topic. And I found myself hit that wall very early into streaming, like a year or two. And I find whenever I talk about cliques, like, oh, Twitch feels like a clique, or, all the popular kids, I'm never going to be friends with all the cool kids on Twitch. Like, anytime I make some kind of comment like that on Twitter, that gets so much engagement from people. I feel like everybody kind of vibes on that. Everybody feels like there's cliques on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And that's because there are. And I don't think there's anything we can do about that. It's natural human psychology that we're going to group together. Like, oh, we're the WoW streamers that all have dyed hair, and as opposed to the WoW streamers that also play D&D. Like, they're just different types of people that have different interests and are able to make the same joke. I've gone through a whole progression with how I feel about the cliques and stuff like that. And to the point where I was bitter about it at the very beginning, like I'll never be part of the cool, just like I was in high school, pissed off that I wasn't with the cool kids. But like over time, it's only been in the last like year or two I've started being like, honestly, like I don't care. I'm just gonna make my own clique. I don't need to be in their clique. And a piece of advice I would give here: mute people on Twitter or unfollow them. Get them off of your feed if you are finding that every time they pop up, you're bitter or you're angry at them for no real reason other than their popularity or the fact that they're friends with these other people and you feel excluded from it. Or I'm not saying unfollow out of bitterness. I mute people. I will if anytime someone pops up on my feed and I get jealous and I compare myself and I'm like, well, why does everyone like them so much? Like what is it about that's not fair? Like I do XYZ. Like anytime I get that like jealousy, envy, like kind of like circle of thought come out, I remove that person from my feed. And it's not 9 times out of 10, it's not their fault. Like they're just really cool, okay? Like, it's not their fault, but I have to remove it from me so it doesn't continue to build, because what I will find happen in me personally is it will then word vomit out. I won't necessarily say anything about them personally, but I'll have to make some kind of subtweet or something like that, and that could be a Gemini curse. But I would say that anything you find building negative energy in you, remove it from your sphere, however that takes place. If it's a streamer you're friends with that y'all play together and every time you're on their channel they're like going crazy, maybe they say really toxic things, maybe they say things that make you go like, oof, like I don't know if you should have said that, buddy. Like you got to find your way out of networking with them or out of being friends with them, and that's really difficult to do sometimes. And maybe not even if it's a streamer thing, but a community member that might be saying some kind of toxic stuff, but they're not quite over the line, but you're getting that feeling. And again, it's just, you've got to listen to your instincts. You've got to listen to that gut feeling, follow through with it, and cut those ties down and be able to, I think of a lot of this stuff as a garden. and you have to spot the weeds and you have to cut the weeds. You have to get them out of there, or else they'll overtake your vegetables. They'll overtake your beautiful prized flower. Like, you've got to keep the negative stuff and prune it, pull it, throw it away, get it out, put it in the compost, whatever you do with it. I don't know what you do with weeds. I do not have a green thumb at all.
You're not a green witch?
I try, but my plants always end up like withering up, and I have to take them to my mom and have her nurse them back to health. I want to be a green witch so bad. I want to be like surrounded by plants, but they don't
agree.
Not cut out for it.
I feel you. My indoor plants are very, very sad. My outdoor plants always do fine, but if I try to grow them inside, they don't like me. They require too much care.
Plants are doing okay because I don't really have to do anything to them. I just kind of put them in the water and they're good. Like anything else, I even tried like vegetable gardening for a while. It went okay, but they never made vegetables.
Oh no. See, I had too many tomatoes this year. I went like full pandemic garden, and like I had like tomatoes and everything, and I had so many. I was trying to like figure out how to do canning because I didn't know what to do with them all.
Oh my god, that's awesome though.
But the indoor plants, no. They're all dead. Well, I'm trying to think if I have any more questions for you. I don't know if there's anything offhand you can think on the topic more that you want to share with us. I can't really think of any more questions that I had.
I have plenty I could say on anything. Nothing in specific is surfacing in my brain right now.
Well, thank you for coming by then, at least.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you showing up. This has been super fun, and I love having like more streamers like to come and talk about like how they do things and stuff. Especially since I'm new and I have no idea.
It's a super cool concept too. I'm sorry you weren't able to do it as the breakfast. What do you call it? Like breakfast talks, breakfast show?
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. I saw it when I was looking over it the other day. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I felt bad because I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to bump it to like 2. I was like, I'm so nocturnal. Like I don't go to bed till like 6 or 7 in the morning most nights. But I appreciate you pushing it up, even though it makes it more of like the brunch club now.
Oh, no worries. I usually do stuff in the morning just because that's when I have childcare. So like that's like my time that I actually like, can be like gaming. Because with a 2-year-old, it's impossible.
Oh my gosh, that 2-year-old. No, it's a whole bunch to manage.
Yeah. But I appreciate you coming by, like, anyways, even though it's, like, later in the day.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming by. Transition.